Jakob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host Thomas Tipple. Dynasty Podcast. This is the Full Tilt. 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 Dynasty Podcast. Jakob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host Thomas Tipple. This is the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast.
Hey, what is happening? What's going on? Look at this. Same show, new look. This is a Full Tilt Dynasty podcast. First episode partnered up with the team over there at the Dynasty Vipers Network. Happy to be here. Happy to be in. It's been a big week getting ready for the show today. And like I said, it's the same show. It's just looking a little fresh. It got a little glow up. I'm over here rocking the Scott Fishbowl 11 My Chemical Romance division here today. Gerard Way approved. You know it. And I couldn't do what we're doing right now, a show that started with people meeting at random and growing and developing together to where we are now without my two mates. So as you'll see next to me, it's Jakob Sanderson, FF_RTDB, and below me is my other main man. That's Big Billy FF on the Bird app. Billy, Jakob, we're here. We're with the Dynasty Vipers Network going live today. Just super stoked. How are you feeling, Jakob, today? You're muted.
Starting off strong.
Look, starting off, just how it's been. No, I feel great. I'm excited. It's Friday, which is always my favorite day of the week. I'm so excited to be recording with you two. I'm excited for episode 1 on the Vipers Network. Shout out to all of the great folks out there for bringing us on. Right. We're excited to keep pumping out nothing but awesome, high quality, entertaining content. And shout out to you, Tom. I know you've been working all week, not just this week, but every week to get this show looking the way it does, and especially the whole new look, the whole new setup. This is something really, really special, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. And we're so super, super pumped up that we have you behind the scenes putting in all this effort, and I hope it does not go unnoticed. That's for sure.
That's too kind, man. Honestly, you know what? It's for the team, man, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can in the game to help us all uptick. I appreciate that, man. Really, it means a lot. Billy, how are you doing, man? I know you were witnessing me freak out trying to figure some of this stuff out last night. So always happy to see you, my man. How are you feeling about those Bucks?
Sun shining, birds are chirping, Bucks in 7.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, Bucks, man. Come on, Bucks.
I'm not even a basketball fan, and I'm Bucks in 7 right now.
I want the Bucks to win, but seriously, excited to be back on the show. Excited to be here with Dynasty Vipers. Love the new layout. Loved watching Tom have a slow mental decay over the last week while I sat here so we could fit these boxes around. It's been a good week. I'm excited to be back on here talking with my boys.
Yeah, you guys better appreciate these green boxes because the chronicles of Tom trying to make green boxes that fit around us were long, arduous.
It had to be even. It had to be. It's not my fault I saw it. We're gonna be jumping into a lot of stuff today. As you can see down below, today we are Hate Myself for Drafting You. Shout out to our icon of the day. It's Joan Jett. Every draft, there's just players that you keep saying, I'm not going to get him this time. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go there. But then it's like, later in the draft, and you're like, no one else, like and you just hit the button. It's just a reaction. Just click. You don't want to click, but you click. You don't want to do it, but you click, and you can't lay off of it. So today we're going to dive into a player each that we cannot stop clicking the button on draft day. But before I do that, I just want to mention that we were reached out to, and we have accepted. We are hosting an hour of the Brighter Skies FF Podathon on the 26th in the 1 to 2 Central Time and the 2 to 3 Eastern Time slot. We're excited to do that. Julian, the Point After, and all those guys over there are fantastic. And when I got the call, we were locking it in. So me, the boys, we're going to be there for an hour talking the live draft, the best ball draft, and we're going to, hype up the anti-bullying because that's what we need. I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter today that I didn't like, and that's not what we're into. We're into that positive vibe, that good vibes only. So we're going to be doing that. Going to want to check that out. And before we get into the No Fun League news, right? Jacob, you were out there today tweeting, doing your thing. Not only did you launch one hell of a best ball, no RB dead zone thread, which was, if I can just retain a quarter of that, I feel like I'll be a better player. But you also responded to a tweet that I just wanted to mention. I can't remember where the original tweet was, but identifying obvious. Like, obviously it's not 100% for anything, but shout out to the vibe. Love the jacket. Hey, I got to do what I got to do. This is what we got to do here sometimes. You responded to a tweet about identifying round 1 busts at wide receiver. Do you want to just walk through that? Because some of the names in that list were, Kevin White and just some real at wide receiver. So why the reply the way that you did?
Yeah, I mean, it was a quote by another great Jacob in the fantasy space. Jacob Brick wrote at Clutch Fantasy on Twitter, and you probably know him as the guy with the polar bear on the ice cap. If you're on Twitter, that's the best way of doing it. No, he just sent out a tweet that had the list. Wide receivers 2015 through 2018 that never had that top 24 PPR season, or at least have not yet. Right. I think for 1 or 2, there's still some hope. But Kevin White, Rashad Perriman, Dorial Green-Beckham, Laquan Treadwell, who just signed with the Jaguars, Corey Coleman, Sterling Shepard, Will Fuller, a.k.a. Billy Needles, Corey Davis, Billy's favorite player, Mike Williams, John Ross, and Christian Kirk. And, yeah, I just said most first-round busts are very easy to see coming. And people were asking, like, well, then what's going to be this year? What's going to be this year? And my answer to that is, I don't know. Like, the problem with sort of the way that we're able to prospect through data is that, we don't have a perfectly calibrated scientific study where we can come down and say, yes, this person has a 63% chance of being a top 24 wide receiver. This person has a 31% chance. Like, really the best thing we can say is these players look like players who historically hit. These players look more like players who historically bust. And we have to acknowledge that, maybe the things that matter change or players beat the odds because there's outliers all the time. But I mean, my answer, they were saying which of those first round wide receivers, this is in a 1 QB format, which are most likely to bust. Well, I don't know which are most likely to bust, but the one who looks the most like guys who bust is Jalen Waddle. And of course that's why I'm not drafting Waddle. Does that mean I think he'll bust? No, I probably think he won't. He was drafted 6th overall. He will probably not bust, but would I rather draft someone like Rashad Bateman, who I look historically, and the guys that look like Rashad Bateman aren't on that list?
Right. And that's what's important. It's not that any one process is the quote unquote the right process, but it's identifying, the most likely outcomes in history. And I agree on Waddle. We said we had Matt Donnelly on the show before the draft, and he was hyping up Waddle, and it was a classic case of someone that loves what he does, and then us who don't because he just doesn't fit the profile that we look for. So it was a really interesting contrast, and by God, he was damn near right. He was almost the first wide receiver off the board.
And he could be right. Like Waddle could be awesome, right? Like,
exactly.
I'm gonna talk about someone later on today in a very flattering frame of mind, which is Michael Thomas. And if you look at Michael Thomas's profile, it honestly wasn't awesome, right? So there's guys that hit all the time with not elite profiles. It happens. All I try to do is I just look at it, man, if we can shift the guesswork from 50-50 to 60-40, on aggregate, we're going to come out on the right side more often than not. Right. That doesn't mean then I'm not going to have misses constantly. And I even put out that tweet yesterday. I was like, there's a big difference between like, even if your process is perfect, and there's no such thing as a perfect process, but even if you have a perfect process, like there's still going to be mistakes that happen. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be randomness. There's going to be things that you see coming. It doesn't always mean that you made the wrong pick or you made the wrong selection. And I think that on Twitter, we get into this, and I'm 100% guilty of it too, because it's fun and it's engaging, but we get into this, like, I was right, you were wrong, I called this, my receipt, whatever. Yeah. The reality is we're all, every single one of us is going to get calls wrong to varying degrees. And, looking back, that's, I think the most important thing is to look back on, was my process wrong or did it just not happen? Because sometimes, people end up overcorrecting where you get one thing wrong, but your process was actually pretty good. And then you end up compounding the error later because you made the wrong correction. Yeah, Dave in the chat. Shout out to Drew Asidchuk, who bravely called Jalen Waddle John Ross 2.0 this week on Twitter. People took it very well. Everyone behaved totally calmly and correctly.
Very rationally.
And rationally. Look, I appreciate Drew, because if Jalen Waddle is a wide receiver 1 overall, I want to direct people to get mad at Drew before they get mad at me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I was not on fantasy Twitter a whole lot the past couple days.
Good for you.
Been caught up with work. One of the few things I saw was that thread. So
fantastic. I just want to get an opinion here, boys. Elijah Moore, the highest floor of any rookie wide receiver.
No.
I don't. Well, let's. Okay, so I'll change this maybe. Aside from Chase,
I think I'll take Devonta Smith over him.
Oh,
okay.
I think Bateman. I think Bateman has Bateman has a higher floor than Chase. Honestly, like Chase had 1 year of production.
That's right.
I think Bateman has the highest floor of literally any rookie wide receiver. I think Elijah Moore has the 3rd highest floor. I will put Elijah Moore's floor higher than Smith, kind of even. I think the only issue with Elijah Moore is he went in the 2nd round, so that takes him out of like lock category for me. But beyond that, he pretty much checks all the boxes you want to check from a floor perspective.
3rd's good. I like 3rd. Shout out to drop the mic in the 11 spot group for the Scott Fishbowl. Loving that one there. So let's get to the hot news. We're not going to drill this into the ground. We broadcast on Fridays, so we know a lot of this has been covered.
Hot news is Laquan Treadwell signing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, R.I.P. to Colin Johnson. Am I right? Chase. So news and notes. We're gonna go Cam's bum ass throws to Javonte RB1 in Denver, Dalton the real QB1 in Chicago, Cortland Sutton not starting on the pup. That's the most important news to me. And that Burrow loves tea, because obviously he loves his teammates. Duh.
I always thought Burrow was more of a coffee guy.
Yeah, exactly. Went 2nd round, but pick 34. Coach is already raving. He can play a slot and outside.
I agree. I like Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I love Elijah Moore.
Between out of the top, the big 3, you're right though. For me, it's Chase, it's Smith, and I would probably go Bateman, and maybe even Bateman over Smith. Honestly, we'll see what happens. I'm obviously a tad bit biased. Big news. The news for me that sticks out there is Cortland Sutton being healthy and Javonte the RB1 in Denver, because I mean, I'm a Javonte guy. He was my rookie RB1. He still is. And this would be a big shot in the confidence arm. Anything here that sticks out to you guys? Like I said, for me, it's Cortland Sutton, the true alpha wide receiver 1 in Denver, as won by Jakob in the People v RTDB. So happy to see that. Big news. Any of this, guys? Are you paying attention to the coach camp speak?
Not really. The Cam Newton one is weird because it seems like immediately after that it came out that was a drill where they were supposed to be throwing the ball high. That was a really weird thing. So I don't know how much I buy into that.
Have you ever been at the beach with your buddies and you're like, "Can you throw me a diver?"
Yeah,
so you're in the water. And no, I want to dive for it. So you're trying to throw it like a little off. That's what they're doing. That's why if you look at Mac Jones's throws, he was barely even throwing the ball. He was just kind of floating it. Which, I can see how people are confused because that's also his normal throw velocity. But
it's a weird thing.
They weren't trying to throw the passes accurately. They're trying to throw it 1 to 2 feet above the wide receiver's head to make them to practice jump ball receiving. That it made the rounds. Okay, can't. Here's the one thing. Cam Newton, not very good at throwing touch passes, but like we already knew that. So
Yeah.
not
Adjust your rankings. Adjust the rankings.
You-
McCorkle by week 3. Yeah, not necessary. Let's pump the brakes again. Billy, are there anything there that really sticks out to you before we move on here quick?
Yeah, the other one I wanted to jump on just because it seemed like a really weird news piece that caught traction over other things was the Javonte Williams being the RB1. That was just like correct me if I'm wrong, that was just a beat reporter in Denver who like came out and was like, Javonte Williams is going to be starting week 1. Like I didn't see anything from coaches, from anyone in the administration saying organization. Sorry, I'm too caught up in college.
Put your football hat on here, Billy. Not the college
hang
hat.
on. The Green Bay one is over there.
Right.
Did the Secretary of Offense make a comment on this?
It was just a very weird, like, I don't.
As you should, Mike.
I don't know how that was the one thing that was written by a beat reporter that got a sleeper notification.
Yeah.
Sleeper's in it for the clicks, but I read the full article, and basically it was just conjecture. The whole feeling was basically they said that it was because Melvin Gordon didn't show up at OTAs, and they felt like he would have showed up if the team wanted him to, and the team would have only wanted him to if he was the RB1. Like, I don't know. It felt a little bit like 3-dimensional chess to me. I don't.
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't know. It doesn't fully land for me. I don't know. I think Javonte Williams is eventually going to take over this role, but we're working in matters of degree. Like the only report that would mean a ton to me coming out of Denver would be if someone thinks that Melvin Gordon's going to get cut. That would be a significant adjustment to the ranks
and a potential real possibility.
Yeah, I still think that's like between a 10 and 20% chance of actually happening. And if that happened, then that's actually quite seismic. 45% of the early down work. That really doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, for Javonte to be worthy of consideration as an RB1 possibility in year 1, and he can be this later. But in terms of for this year, he's going to need pass work or goal line work. If Melvin Gordon is still going to be the favorite for pass work and goal line work, then Javonte is just an RB2 for this year, and you're waiting for liftoff in 2022. Yeah. I think you could take that, but that would be the stuff that I'd be watching out for. It was the same thing. I saw a beat reporter quote got picked up about James Robinson where they had him projected as the RB1. Even in that piece, he said, I think Travis Etienne could get more touches and have a larger impact on the offense because he's going to be featured within the red zone. He's going to be featured out of the pass game, but James Robinson might be the get more snaps on early downs. We don't care about who gets more snaps on early downs as much as we care about goal line work and pass game work, as long as they're still good, because most teams are going to have some sort of mix on early downs other than maybe 5 or 6 teams. And exactly the percentage of that is something that I think we spend too much time trying to figure out for not a whole lot of gain.
Right. Because it's what is it? It's like the 2-minute drill. It's like the carries plus the 2-minute drill, like targets are worth more than early down carries anyway. So at the end of the day, like again, pass catching is what matters. So that's going to be the news. And we're going to get into, we haven't beat Billy yet. It's really frustrating, actually. He's come out with 2 great questions and he's whooped our ass in both of them. And since we're not here to fuck spiders here, boys, we're going to get right into Billy's stat corner right away here.
I didn't have a book ready to throw. I'm sorry.
Come on, Billy.
I moved my room, so my bookshelf is on the other side of the room.
You're letting us down here. Be prepared. You show up. We're professionals, damn it. Next time, I expect you to be here prepared or you're getting replaced. Billy's stat corner. You're 2-0, and I hate it. I hate it. So what's the stat this week, Billy?
All right. So we're starting off with a little bit of a fun one. I think this one should be easier than the last couple weeks. I'm dumbing it down for y'all a little bit.
Okay.
None of this.
PhD.
None of this crap.
All right.
Dumb you down.
Here we go. Since 2018,
okay,
Chris Carson and Ezekiel Elliott are both proud owners of 2 of the top 7 worst seasons in yards per attempt for a player with over 1,100 yards.
Okay.
What 3 players have the other 3? So Chris Carson and Ezekiel Elliott make up 4 of the top 7.
All right.
3 other players have a single in that ranking. Who makes up the other 3?
All right. So first of all, Billy, these are not guesses. We're just going to discuss some names back and forth for a little bit here, okay?
I will mute myself and let y'all go.
All right.
Okay,
so
okay.
I think
I got one off the top of my
Fournette has
head.
got to be
Fournette.
okay. What was going to be yours at the top?
I was actually going to say Melvin Gordon.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised Melvin Gordon doesn't have like 16. Actually, wait, Melvin Gordon only rushed for 1,000 yards once in his career.
Yeah. There's no way that was
I'm
at
not
5
sure
a
if
clip.
I'm not sure if he ever got to 1,100. He might. Yeah, he probably did. Okay, I like the Gordon call. Let's make this one of our official guesses.
2008, since 2008. Oh, hold on. Since 2018.
Since 2018.
Yeah, but in 2018, I think that was his best year.
Yeah, I agree. So Gordon, Fournette.
Well, let's lock in Gordon. We got 3 strikes, right, Billy?
Yep, I'll give you.
All right, so let's start with Gordon.
We're gonna go Gordon.
All right. Do you want me to clarify now?
Yeah.
Gordon is not one of them.
Fuck.
Not one of them. Okay. Well, Fournette's 2019 feels like a lock to me.
Yeah.
Let's guess Fournette.
Because I think he had like 1150 and 9 or something with like an unreasonable Stolp level obsession of receptions. So we'll go.
Please be Fournette.
We'll go Fournette as number 2.
Leonard Fournette has the second worst season.
Okay, there
with
we
a
go.
4.3 yards per attempt.
So
Okay,
2
so
more
we need
players.
2 more. We have 2 more
on 2
strikes.
strikes.
2 more players.
Think this through here.
Since 2018, 1,100 yards. Well, let's just see who had
Did Bell get to? Bell didn't get to 1,100.
No.
in 2019, did
He
was atrocious.
He hasn't even come close.
I think Le'Veon sat in 2018.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Since 2018.
Sony Michel never would have gotten that high, did he?
He never got 1,100 yards.
Okay.
No. He's hit like 900 every season except for last year.
All right. I think Connor was actually kind of efficient-ish in 2018, so I don't think him.
But
you know who might be on the list? 2018 David Johnson for the Cardinals, the year that the Cardinals really sucked. He got 1 million carries. I feel like he probably got to 1,100, and I don't think that they were pretty.
You want to lock that one in?
Yeah, let's go with DJ.
Okay.
David Johnson is not on the list.
Oh my God!
You have 2 strikes, 2 remaining players.
So much. Oh, who's Eddie Lacy?
No, that's too far back. That's way too far back.
I'll give you that one. Fuck Eddie Lacy.
He hasn't been good since like 2015.
Sorry, who's the 2018? Oh no, that would have been Jones. Okay, never mind.
Let's see here. I'm looking at this freaking.
He was super inefficient though. He had to have been.
Yeah. Wow, David Johnson only got to 940 yards in 2018 at 3.6 per carry.
That's disgusting.
He didn't get there. Okay, who else would have been?
Oh, excuse me. Okay. Oh man, we had help from Dave last week. Spent a first on Johnson that year. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Sorry to hear that, Ryan. Sorry to bring that back up for you, buddy. Okay, we got to be quick here. We got 2 strikes, 1 more since 2018, 1,100 yards.
Did Gurley get to 1,100 yards in 2019?
I don't think he was inefficient though.
Yeah, he was.
Gurley's
He was in 2019, like his first year, like not last year, the year prior. He was under 4 yards a carry for sure.
He would have hit 1,100 yards. He played.
I'm not 100% sure. He only played 14 games, so he might not have gotten there.
Oh man, I feel like that's a tough one.
Okay, let's keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Can I think of anyone else?
We got another 40 seconds to figure this answer out.
Oh gosh. This sucks. We're gonna be 0-3.
Yeah, I can feel it coming that way.
I'm trying to think of Devontae Freeman that got that far. No, I don't think so.
My shit-eating grin is
no
just developing.
No Coleman. Who else really sucked, but was not super? Oh, that's really hard, man. Since 2018, there's some really obscure 1,000-yard running backs.
Yeah,
there's one player who I thought y'all would have guessed, but he isn't in the top.
Oh,
sorry.
Him anyways, if he's not even there.
Like, oh man, maybe Gurley. I feel an L coming. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, I feel an L coming too, Dave. Sure. Well, let's just I can't think Gurley? It is. Let's just Gurley's wrong, but let's just say it.
Okay, let's lock in Gurley. He does feel gross.
Todd Gurley did not make 1,100 yards in 2019. He did make it in 2018. In that case, he was the 8th worst on this list. So
Oh,
he does not count.
All right, who
Good
are we
guess.
missing, Billy?
The worst
He goes
was,
to 3-0.
The worst was 2019 Joe Mixon.
oh, of course.
Oh,
How do we not get Mixon?
And the 5th worst, so it's Mixon, Fournette, Carson,
no.
Elliott. Number
Can't believe we
5.
get Mixon.
This one was the hard one. This one was the
easy
one
to
I
forget about because of last year.
was 2019 Dalvin Cook. Only averaged
Really?
4.5 yards per attempt.
Huh.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
I never would have guessed
That one
Dalvin
I
Cook.
was never.
The-
You always assume he's like a 4.8 or
Yeah.
a 5.1 type player.
The
But
red
I guess-
herring, I was sure y'all were going to guess Josh Jacobs.
No, because I don't think he ever got to. Well, he was actually efficient in 2019. He was quite good, and then in 2020 he was very not good. But I don't think he got to 1100.
I don't think he hit.
In 2019, he hit 1,100 yards.
But he was actually
and,
efficient.
He was number 9 on the list.
Okay.
Okay.
But
So that
like-
was Billy's stat corner.
Yeah.
The bastard's 3-0. I'm not a big fan of it. We're going to disappear
Oh,
for a
gosh.
second, and when we come back, we are going to get into the players that we hate ourselves for drafting. It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to take a break for a second. When we come back, we're going to get right into it. So as I mentioned,
How did this become a thing?
it gets me every time. He doesn't even wait. Like, it gets me every single time. I love it so much. So as we mentioned before, I hate myself for drafting you. We're going to talk about a player each and just talk ourselves through the process of constantly drafting the same player over and over and over and over again. No matter
Thanks,
how
Dave.
hard we try not to. And I kind of want to I'm sorry, I missed you there, P2. Love it, man. Appreciate you, dude. That fit though. That's what's up.
Hey.
Fournette and or Juju. Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Imagine putting Aaron
it's
Jones
easy.
on a list of
Very.
inefficient rushers. That's terrible.
No.
Oh.
That's a trade question for sure. Fournette and Juju for Aaron Jones
Oh,
for
Aaron
sure.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
7th and an
Jeremy
8th
Hill.
for his 3rd.
Oh no.
Bengals are
Jeremy
bees. I
Hill.
took Jeremy Hill in round 1. Oh man,
Jeremy
that's
Hill has
crushing.
Jeremy Hill has the lowest recorded burst score of all of the running backs that I've charted from 2010 to 2020, drafted in the first 3 rounds. That's my fun fact on Jeremy Hill.
Insane.
Just to make Tom happy, I was going to say this earlier. The most efficient runner with 1,100 yards was Lamar Jackson.
Fucking right
So-
it was. The real RB1.
Enjoy
All right.
that one.
Jacob, I want to start with you on this player.
Oh boy.
Like, you won't shut up about him. Like, I get it. You took him in round 1 years back when we first started this journey. Like, I get it. I've watched you trade him away and trade for him in back-to-back weeks more times than I can count. We all know the highlight reel, and I think his best days are behind him. I think he misses Eli Manning really bad, leading that in. Why do you constantly draft Odell Beckham Jr.? Always.
Like, it's been tough. Okay. When he first got traded to Cleveland, he was far and away on my list, and I was definitely not the only one who felt this way. I thought he was a dynasty wide receiver 1 overall at that time. And he was coming off of, he had a couple injuries in New York, but every single time he stepped on a football field as a New York Giant, he was elite. And that's just a fact. You can't take that away from him. If you look at his points per game in New York, he was top 5 every
I
single
still don't know what it is,
year.
Ryan, so I feel you.
Oh, it's your, oh yeah, okay, I'll give you this one. Burst score, by the way. Burst score is your broad jump and your vertical jump combined, and then they use a formula to convert it into a score. But it's just your combined ability to jump, and it's a measure of explosiveness.
Nerds.
Anyway, Odell Beckham. In New York, he had pretty questionable quarterbacking at times from Eli Manning, especially in Eli Manning's later years. Was still going out there producing at a ridiculously elite level every single week that he was on the field. Comes into Cleveland. He was only 26 years old when he gets traded to Cleveland. Going to get Baker
he's
Mayfield,
35.
who's coming off, well, his knees are at least. Coming
Feels
in,
like it.
coming into Cleveland, he gets Baker Mayfield coming off of an incredibly exciting rookie season, sets records in his rookie year, and wheels are up. Obviously, a disappointing 2019. 2020, bit of a mixed bag. He had a couple of really nice games, a couple of really poor games, and then, of course, snap goes the ACL. And now what we're looking at is 28-year-old wide receiver coming into a year where he has lost all value in Dynasty. I went on DLF Trade Finder today, and you can get Odell Beckham. They say at equal value, you can get Odell Beckham for the 2.3 or the 2.4 rookie pick. And that's why I keep getting sucked in with Odell, because even if I don't think, like last year, I was like, man, that was just a down year. He was still drawing an elite target share. He was getting the kinks out with Baker. He's going to be back to old Odell. And then this year, I'm like, hey, fine. His best days are behind him, but I still think he's going to be a wide receiver 2. And if he's a wide receiver 2, then he pays off that price tag. Back to my guy, Jakob Brickroad at Clutch Fantasy. He did a bunch of work on tracking how multi-time top 12 wide receivers perform throughout their careers. And what he found is that really, even at ages over 30, the most predictable metric above size, above college profile, above anything else, is that if you can be a top 12 wide receiver multiple times, you are more likely to be a top 12 wide receiver again, no matter how old or broken you are, versus virtually any draft pick coming in. And when I'm looking at the 2.3, 2.4, what can we realistically hope from these players? You're going to draft someone like a Trey Sermon or a Michael Carter, who are running backs drafted in the middle rounds with questionable roles and questionable ceilings. You're looking at a Rondale Moore, who's got a lot of risk factors in his profile. How high is the ceiling going to be for a guy of his size, a guy who's been injured as many times as Odell Beckham has? Terrace Marshall's not even on the practice field. Elijah Moore, everyone's in love with Elijah Moore right now, but still, he's, profiles to be a more diminutive beta wide receiver. What's the upside there? And you look at Odell Beckham, he's still a guy who has consistently commanded in the low 20s to the mid 20s in target share, even the last 2 years in Cleveland. He is still getting an alpha profile. The only guy he's competing with is Jarvis Landry. At tight ends, it's like Austin Hooper, the ghost of David Njoku. They don't have any viable third wide receiver options. It's Anthony Schwartz, who's whatever, Demetric Felton, Donovan Peoples-Jones. It's just a bunch of guys and dart throws. Otherwise, it's Beckham and Landry. And here's the part that really sucks me back in. Early season last year when Odell was healthy, Baker was not playing very particularly well. But in the back half of the season, especially post that big line of monsoon games, Baker started turning it up. He became one of the 10 most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL easily. And even better yet, everyone pictures the Browns as this run-heavy organization, but a weird coincidence happened. As Baker started playing better, as the defense started playing better, they started passing more on early downs. They were a top 10 team over the last month and a half of the season in pass rate over expectation and neutral game scripts. People just didn't realize because they were winning every game. So in the second half, they got to just hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. I think that there's an outside chance that this team leans on Baker more than people think, that they pass the ball more than people think, and Odell Beckham's still going to be there getting a 23 to 25% target share. And if that happens, he's guaranteed to be a high-end wide receiver 2 at worst. You can take him in round 6 of your best ball drafts. You can take him sometimes in round 10 or 11 in your dynasty drafts, and I will happily give an early to mid-round second for Odell Beckham Jr. And that upside, because it is hard to find a difference maker at wide receiver, and we know that it's at least possible that Odell Beckham is still somewhat of that difference maker at wide receiver. Odell, I promise this is the last year that I'm going all in on you, but for one more year, as much as I hate myself, I will not stop drafting you.
And it's one of those things,
Good job,
right?
Dynasty Vipers.
Yeah, 100%.
It's dumped on too much. Come on, everybody's into something.
I scooped OBJ in the 15th. I've seen him go as late as the 11th. Myself personally, and you're right, I keep getting him, at the 8-9. I traded up. Like, it's just one of those things. We talked about that previously. So I agree, right? The Dallas game brings you a lot of hope. Like, just keep thinking about it.
That game,
I took some reverses.
But
him running down that sideline.
Yeah,
the Dallas linebacking core for just taking the worst angles ever, allowing Odell to just dog past them.
So for I'm gonna hop on next. We might lose all our viewers and listeners at this point, but look, I understand quarterback value in Superflex is a big deal. And I understand that it's easy to shit on certain players, Odell being one of them. But there's one player that I just keep seeing the slander, and I didn't mean to become a truther. I didn't mean to, but let me tell you, Ryan Tannehill gave me some hope. And from one shit joke to another, there's a former Adam Gase player, and he's free. He's been set free, and I cannot stop myself from drafting you, Sam Darnold. And I swear to God, if you let me down worse than my dad did when he left, I am going to feel horrific. But the tweets are out there. I believe in them, and here's why. I'm not going to get into the big stats of it, but A, big time, free of Gase. 2, really good coaching staff, great coaching staff. Obviously the best weapons he's ever had. Marshall, my boy Moore, and Anderson. And let me tell you, Anderson and Moore were really good last year. They just didn't score touchdowns. You want to know why? Teddy, too scared himself, just couldn't throw a touchdown. Missing Moore wide open and almost costing him the season, which I will never let him forget, and I'll never let him down for, because it almost cost me the playoffs. But look, his value, it's too good right now in Superflex drafts. Between the 6th and 8th round, you can get Darnold. Definitely, you know what? Coming back, Mike knows what's up. I must add, I just traded OBJ and Evans for Gibson. Hey, there you go. You know what?
Good deal.
Yep.
Do that too.
Yeah, good one. That's a good one right there. But look, for Darnold, okay, he's got good weapons, and if Teddy Bridgewater just throws, I don't know, more touchdowns than a varsity high school quarterback in a season, and for his job, the wide receivers look a lot better there, and so does Teddy. And I really think at worst, Sam Darnold can be Teddy Bridgewater in that offense, right? It's such an easy offense for a quarterback with at least above average skills, which I still believe Darnold has. It just, after a couple of years of dealing with Gase, I would blame him for just having the worst traits and habits possible, right? It's just been proven. Everyone that escapes Gase usually has a breakout year the next year, right? We've seen it with Parker and Tannehill and everyone. So I'm in on Darnold at his price. And I want to make that. I know it's an easy comp out, whatever. At least I'm not saying I prefer him in best ball, but I like him at his current price. That 7th, 8th in a super flex draft where you see a ton of quarterbacks go early. You can wait on your second one and take a shot. That's exactly I would see goes if I had to deal with Gase every day too. Gase is probably still hunting the poor guys. Exactly. 100%. Ryan, I agree with Ryan here. And look, it's easy to make fun of Sam Darnold for that seeing ghost things on primetime, but he also torched a Dallas defense that's not as bad as it is today. So there's hope, and he has Robbie Anderson back with him, who's been obviously, I mean, if you want to go down narrative street, obviously if it fits with your narrative, you got to go with it. And Robbie Anderson saying
the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, so he's talking up Darnold and how he just feels different and he hasn't seen that. Like, little stuff like that doesn't matter, but if you want to find the hope, it does matter. So for me, I'm trying to find the hope. I just really hope he doesn't let me down, but I don't think he will. At worst, you're going to see a QB 25, 21 performance, a good QB2 you're getting later in Superflex drafts, and you can get him for – I traded him straight up for Jalen Reagor. Like, there are deals out there. Yeah, exactly. He's never had a real run game. There's a lot of stuff. And for time, I'm just not going to go there. But he hasn't had a lot of things to work with to go in his favor to help him. And I think that Carolina is his chance. I mean, they traded D's capital for him. They picked up his 5th year. I really think that they passed up on a hell of a quarterback that went to Chicago, and which we all think, Carolina should have drafted. But hey, that's how it is. I like Darnold, and it makes me sad, but and I like punishment sometimes. I mean, emo, right? We like punishment.
Odell likes being crapped on, and Tom likes punishment, I guess.
Exactly. So hey, I do hate myself for drafting you, Sam, but don't let me down.
If it's not this year, he's done.
I agree.
I think that's pretty much something that you could just say about anyone we bring up in this segment. It's like, if it doesn't happen this year,
look, people might ask too, like, what do I got, like, projection wise? I get 3,700 yards with 23 touchdowns and 12 interceptions is what I have for Donald right now. And I would take that as a sign of hope, honestly, because with McCaffrey coming back, they're going to lean on him a bit, right? And they drafted Chuba, right? So 3,700 yards, 22 to 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. I'm taking that as a win for where you're getting him in drafts. So there's one more player. We did say 3. And Billy, I need you to explain to me why you can't stop drafting Patriots overpaid tight end Jonnu Smith in drafts right now.
Yeah, this one really hurts me. There was a running joke last year in our Liga record that
Brian, I hope it's a lot to Marshall. Believe me. Trust me.
That I owned the entire Titans team, like the entire Titans passing offense.
It wasn't a joke. It was a reality.
Well, it is reality. I had
Davis.
Tannehill, I had Jonnu, I had Corey Davis, I had A.J. Brown. And there was
Humphreys?
1 week where... No Humphreys, thank God. And there was 1 week where I started all of them, and I think I ended up winning. Either way, Jonnu Smith, unironically, is one of my favorite players in the NFL, and he's one of these players who I honestly can't quit. Like, Jonnu Smith annoys me because he fits this, he's the poster boy of this, market I like to corner whenever I play fantasy football, which is, these extremely athletic tight ends who are going to have opportunities in the red zone and should produce. That is everything. You look at Jonnu Smith, he's top 3 in all of those categories.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, we can go and look at it. I mean, last year, he was top 5 in total touchdowns. He was very high in red zone targets. He was great in terms of efficiency.
Looked great as a running back.
That lost me a week. And, there's just this thing with Jonnu that I can't exactly quit. And that's what upsets me, because now he's going to this Patriots offense, which I hate. I want nothing to do with this Patriots offense. Maybe I'm taking Jakobi Myers in the last round of some obscure best ball draft where I have $5.
Shout out to Cooper_DFF. $sign Jakobi.
That is my one thing going with Jonnu Smith. And the fact that he is probably going to be, Doug Martin is another great example of this. He's probably going to be, at worst, the number 3 target in that offense. And he's an athletic monster. Everything points to Jonnu being extremely effective. And then I sit back and I look at last year, and everything is pointing to him being as effective last year. He should have been number 3 in a much better offense, and he was very good. He produced as a top 10 tight end, top 12 tight end. And then
So did Ebron.
Everything fell down.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to have to prepare again for with him on the Patriots, is he's going to be the go-to red zone target. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to score some good plays. He's going to be catching the ball close to the line of scrimmage because Cam Newton can't throw the ball very far, and Mac Jones can't throw the ball much farther. But he's going to have all the yak opportunity in the world, and he's not going to do anything with it, and that's what's going to upset me. So every draft I'm in right now, I'm leaving with Jonnu Smith and a late round pick because no one wants a Patriots tight end right now. Mm-hmm. And especially in best ball, I love Jonnu Smith because there's going to be 2 games this year.
I was wondering if we were going to make it through.
Hashtag better than best ball.
There's going to be 2 or 3 games this year where Jonnu has 6 touches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
And you know what? At this point, that's all I want. I just hope I'm starting him this year. Jonnu Smith is the player I absolutely hate myself for drafting because I know there's going to be players like who I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Jared Cook, who I'm going to be strongly considering starting over him week to week, and I dislike a lot more. So, Jonnu, I love you. You're a great player. God, I hope this is the season.
My number 1 most drafted tight end in best ball, all aboard on Jonnu Smith this year in 2021. I have him projected to lead the Patriots in targets.
I mean, but that receiving core, shouldn't be hard to do. He
definitely be a flat target distribution.
He definitely could be
flat.
He definitely could be the inmate to Hunter Henry's Gronk impression, right? Just hopefully without the charges, obviously, because that's what the vibe is with Jonnu and Hunter Henry, obviously being compared to that time with McDaniels and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I don't see it, but it's every year we have this. So that's why we wanted to touch on players that we just hate ourselves for drafting and we can't. And mine lately has been AJ Green. I mean, it's so late. Maybe he could, put up wide receiver threes, which don't actually exist.
AJ Green?
Yeah.
Bruh. No,
that one's rough.
We're done with AJ Green. Trade AJ Green for $1 fab and a roster spot.
That's a tough sell.
and maybe like you can get a $5 coupon to Chipotle or something. But no, that's
Chipotle!
He's the 5th or 6th best receiver on that team.
No, we're already into the mix where I've had multiple people text me. They're like, do you think AJ Green is a good value in round 17 of your best ball leagues? He's going to get targets. And no, like he got targets last year and he couldn't do anything because he's washed. I'm sorry. He's washed.
I agree there.
I would rather have DeMarcus Robinson.
At least Mike knows. If you look here, trust me, I know it's bad. He knows.
Mike.
So
that's
better. That's why it fits with this theme, Mike, is because and we all know. We're all very aware that all three players that we talked about, Odell Beckham Jr., the Ghost Seer, Sam Darnold, and no hamstring, Jonnu Smith, could all definitely bust.
Oh.
We like them at their values, all things like that. Now,
I should have done C.Y. Hilton because you picked the guy who sees Ghost, and I should have picked Ghost.
Exactly. Yeah. So we haven't done one of these for a little bit, and right now Jacob's riding quite the winning streak, undefeated as the defense attorney for his players. And this week we got a real one for you. It's the most talked about segment from our show to us. We're bringing it back for this week. So let's go. Oh man, Billy,
take your hat off, Billy.
I was hoping you saw the intro there. I'm gonna move myself down here and I'll explain why in a minute. You missed it, man, because you weren't looking. But it's the man without hats versus Jacob here today. It's a little inside league joke.
I forgot I was wearing a hat.
Billy blew it. Okay, this is how it goes down. This week we have the Paragon of Objectivity.
God, I'm balding.
Defending Michael Thomas over Calvin Ridley this season, which is a hot button argument. It's going to be a tough one for him to win. Billy will open with opening statements from the prosecution as to why this is egregious, and thus turning it over to Jacob to defend. Boys, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Court is now in session. I'm hanging out here with my number one, Judge Judas Scheinlin. So, Billy, hit us with those opening arguments, man.
All right. So this is a very fun one for me because while I was diving into this topic and preparing bullet points against Jacob, I found some very funny comparisons. Some things that we can just take a note of. So let's start off. Calvin Ridley, my boy, everyone's boy. Everyone on Twitter loves him right now because he just lost to Julio Jones. Yeah, everyone loves Calvin Ridley except for this man next to me. Now, Calvin Ridley last year played 7 games without Julio Jones. In those 7 games, he had almost 800 yards and 3 touchdowns. Reasonable numbers in 7 games. If we extrapolate that out to a 17-game pace, which is bad math, but worth noting, since he's losing Julio right now, I think that's fair. That is a pace of 1,800 yards, 1,850 almost, so we'll bump it up, and 7 touchdowns.
It's pretty good.
Now, I want to keep note of those 7 games that he played. 7 games. In 2020, Michael Thomas played 7 games total. In those games, Michael Thomas had 438 yards and 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns. Keep in mind, 2 of those 7 games were against Atlanta, the worst pass defense in the league.
Okay.
The 17-game pace for that is 1,060 yards and 0 touchdowns. Look, I'm all for loving Michael Thomas as a value. I think he's a value. I think people are fading him and completely forgetting about him. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Calvin Ridley has more potential. He can easily get Michael Thomas target share in 2021. He's 2 years younger. He's on a better passing team and possesses more big playability than Michael Thomas. All those facts alone should put him above Michael Thomas easily. I love Michael Thomas. I think he's fun. In research for this, I found out he was Keyshawn Johnson's nephew. Like, that's just a fun thing I didn't know. Also, he roomed with his QB in Ohio State. All that's fun to know. But we also need to know that Calvin Ridley is going to be a better fantasy and dynasty asset than Michael Thomas moving forward. Now, I'll pass it over to Jacob. He's going to give you a bunch of analytics. But I feel like I don't need to make rebuttal arguments at this point because I feel like this is the easiest thing. But I'll give it to Jacob, and I'll prepare to make those rebuttals anyway. Also, I'm motioning to my computer that I have the stats on over here. I feel like I keep saying like I should motion over here. But I want to make it clear. I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm motioning to.
Oh, my God. Okay. That was fantastic. Thank you for those opening arguments. Counsel, you have a chance to rebut, if you would.
Counselor Milestone can motion this way, and he can motion this way, and he can do all of the King Tut dances that he wants.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, his safety dance is not going to win this argument for him. How quickly people forget. Let me read you some stats, okay? 149 receptions, 185 targets, 1,725 yards. That's not a small sample size extrapolation of 7 games. That's an actual season that a person actually had, which was one of the best fantasy wide receiver seasons of all time, and that was Michael Thomas's 2019 season. What people forget about that is that wasn't particularly shocking because he has come off of the wide receiver 6 overall season, wide receiver 5 overall season, and wide receiver 7 overall season in his rookie year in the previous 3 seasons. Michael Thomas, when a healthy NFL wide receiver, is a guaranteed top 7 wide receiver literally every single season he's ever played, including his rookie year. Because, as his Twitter says, you can't guard Mike. Now coming in, everyone is down on Michael Thomas because of what happened last year. Let's just read out some stats from last year. He had a 27.8% target share. That's 4th in the NFL. 27.9% target rate on routes run. 19th in the NFL, 16.4% hog rate, 15th in the NFL, and Michael Thomas, slant boy, guy who can't make plays downfield, had, wait for it, a 42.5% air yards share that is first, number 1 in the entire National Football League. That's not from 2019, that's from 2020 in the games that he played. Now, we have seen countless examples of players having high ankle sprains, not being able to play at their full potential when they come back, especially if they're trying to come back too early. In fact, we saw one of those on the Saints in 2019 with Alvin Kamara. When he came back in 2020, he was Alvin Kamara again. He was scoring 6 touchdowns on Christmas. He was Alvin Santa Claus, winning you your fantasy championships in every single league that you had him. And we saw Michael Thomas get stronger over the course of the year. His last 4 games that he played in the regular season in 2020, he had 12 targets, 9 for 104, 6 targets, 4 for 50. That was playing with in the Kendall Hinton game. 11 targets, 9 for 105, 8 targets, 8 for 84. He was still having the elite catch rate he's always had. He was still getting the elite volume that he's always had. He was still the elite player that he's always been. He was just catching passes from a glorified tight end and happening not to get touchdown luck. Now he's probably going to get one of the most fantasy-friendly quarterbacks he's ever played with in Jameis Winston, coming in to be the QB1 for the New Orleans Saints. We have no problem whatsoever as a Dynasty community ranking DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams over Calvin Ridley, who are both older than Michael Thomas and both have nowhere near the record of volume that Michael Thomas continues to draw, in particular, Devontae Adams. Michael Thomas is going to have an extremely fantasy-friendly quarterback. He's an extreme fantasy producer, and he's an exquisite wide receiver talent, just a year and a half older than Calvin Ridley. I will take that over the extrapolation of a limited sample of a wide receiver who has not proven yet that they are the dominant alpha that Michael Thomas is and has always been.
I got to admit, Billy's argument was real strong, but fuck, Jacob's got away with words that oh man, Billy, you're going to have to bring it, man. Bring it. Round 2. Let's go. What do you got? Rebut.
All right, so let's play. I'm glad I left some of these things I have on my stat sheet up.
I love how into it Billy is this time.
I was gonna use them all in the first round, but I figure I know Jacob. Jacob's smarter than I am. I'll let him go. I'll let him make all his crazy claims. So let's investigate what Jameis Winston was able to do as a QB, which you and I both agree, you sitting next to me over here will agree, Jameis Winston is the best option for Michael Thomas. Taysom Hill is terrifying. Taysom Hill threw the ball, whatever. That's what Taysom Hill did. But Jameis Winston is the best option. Jameis Winston had the I didn't have it pulled up, had a very deep depth of target going on in 2019 when he was extremely fantasy viable. Let's look at what Michael Thomas ranked as in his average depth of target in the last 2 years. He ranked at number 89 in 2019, his amazing year, and ranked as number 66 in 2020. Now, you just read off a lot of very interesting stuff, very fun stats that we can all say he did very well. He was extremely efficient in 2020 with the targets he got. He ranked very high in terms of target share. He ranked very high. All that's totally fine. He was still on pace for just over 1,000 yards. He's either going to get a running back at QB, or he's going to get a dude who can't throw down or who only throws down the field and makes his money down the field. Calvin Ridley, who is now in a much better situation than he was in last year, was number 1 in air yards, number 3 in air yard share, number 1 in deep targets, 2 in red zone targets, 6 in hog rate, number 1 in completed air yards, number 1 in uncompleted air yards, number 7 in yards per route run, number 5 in cushion, number 4 in dominator rating, and number 7 in ERA. That's what he did. Calvin Ridley is an absolute monster. And I don't see a way that we can take a 2 years younger player who produced like that and did that in an offense that is now removing a Hall of Fame wide receiver and put him over a player who is now getting, at best, a blind QB and at worst, a running back at QB. And we can give Taysom Hill all the credit we want. We can put that on Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's 2 games where he was semi-good as a passer were those 2 games against Atlanta that I had mentioned. I can continue to hammer this into the ground, but I think this is pretty fair. So, Jacob, I've used your metrics that you like to use to show that Calvin Ridley is a higher-end wide receiver moving forward in Dynasty. Now I pass the floor on to you. You can continue your takes.
I love how sassy Billy just got. Like the sass was in full effect. All we needed was a finger snap. That's all we needed.
I'm 2 Bud Light Platinums down.
There we go. Oh, geez.
Wow.
He brought it.
That's
Jacob, last chance. Jacob, last chance. Send us home.
Look, everyone knows that coming into the league, I wasn't the biggest fan of Calvin Ridley. But that's okay. As a paragon of objectivity, I have realized the error of my ways, and I understand that Calvin Ridley is a fantastic wide receiver in the NFL. I would be happy to have him on my NFL team. I would be happy to have him on my fantasy team. However, just like Michael Thomas's 2019 route tree, Billy's argument is rather slanted. Anyway, let's look at Michael Thomas.
That was whack. That was bad.
Wow.
That was.
Come on.
Whoa.
All right. I'll go back on mute, but that was rough.
I was proud of that one. Jeez. Look, just because Michael Thomas had such an elite catch rate and was able to excel so much on slant routes through his 2018 and 2019 to the point that he became slant boy does not mean that he can't actually win down the field with a quarterback who can actually throw. It's not his fault that he played with Teddy Too Scared and Drew Brees' fossilizing arm, who is
Trying to win me over with the nickname.
physically
Yeah, that was a good
capable
play.
of throwing the ball further than 6 yards. What are you supposed to do? Drew Brees can only throw dump offs to Alvin Kamara and slant routes. So Michael Thomas went out and won on a lot of slant routes. If he was Traquan Smithing down the field for 40 yards, he wouldn't have been able to get the targets because Drew Brees literally can't throw them. But when you look at his reception perception, when you look at his metrics, you see that Michael Thomas is a complete wide receiver. He can win in the short areas of the field. He can win after the catch. He can win at the catch point. He was top 5 in the NFL in contested catch rate in 2019. You're telling me that with Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas can't run down the field and run a post route and win on a post route? That's a bunch of malarkey. He's one of the best route runners in the league. He's got some of the best hands in the league. It only expands his potential ceiling if he's able to expand his route tree. He was able to win getting bracketed by corners as the only viable wide receiver when people knew he couldn't run routes longer than 15 yards because the quarterback wasn't able to throw them. If he has more opportunities to win, he's only going to be able to win in more ways. And as I mentioned with Odell Beckham Jr., with wide receivers that are as elite as Michael Thomas, and maybe Calvin Ridley will one day join this group. But wide receivers that are as vaunted
He's already there.
He's done it for one season. Wide receivers that have given multiple, 3 times, in Michael Thomas's case, 4 times, the top 12 wide receiver can perform at an elite level well into their 30s. We've seen this with Julio Jones. We've seen this with Antonio Brown, with Calvin Johnson. These guys stay elite for a long time. And Michael Thomas is in that vaunted tier. This is a Hall of Fame level wide receiver that's entering his age 28 season. You are virtually guaranteed that you're going to have 4 or 5 more years of Michael Thomas where he'll have opportunities to put up top 12 seasons, even top 5 seasons. And while I expect Calvin Ridley to be great, we already know Michael Thomas is great. And for a year and a half of age difference, for a guy who's still going to be able to provide that elite ceiling that we've already seen demonstrated for another 3, 4, 5 years, I would rather ride with Michael Thomas and chase upside elsewhere than go with Calvin Ridley, who has more uncertainty and hasn't proven that he's the elite level yet of Michael Thomas over the course of a full season. If you want to go with small sample sizes and extrapolating that to make your arguments over Calvin Ridley, go for it. But I'm going to ride with what I know. What I know is that Michael Thomas is one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver in the National Football League.
I do want to say a small sample size is not half a season, but
that's pretty small. 7 games versus
anyway,
4 years.
I will leave it alone, but 7 games is a sizable size. Anyway.
Sizable size. It's enough to say he's good. I'm not arguing Calvin Ridley's bad. I'm just saying I wouldn't take him over a guy who might be the best wide receiver on the planet.
Oh, okay, that's strong. Okay. Oh man, you guys are making it tough on me. Oh, this is tough. I too have to be a paragon of objectivity as I'm not in on Ridley. Oh man. Matt Ryan's career without Julio is not great. With Julio in the lineup, but that doesn't super matter if he's hyper targeting, but will he hyper target? Then there was the, Sean Payton may lean heavier on the running backs, which doesn't scream good things for Michael Thomas's targets. Oh man, it's tough. Who do I want more in Dynasty right now? Oh, you guys are killing me. This was great. This was absolutely fantastic. And there's uncertainty on both counts. History's on Michael Thomas's side. This is really hard, but
come on, Tom. We're already past the hour mark.
I gotta side with Michael Thomas.
What the fuck? No way.
Yeah.
No.
Look, the second best pass catching option is Marquez Callaway as outside of Alvin Kamara There's no way Michael Thomas doesn't get a 28% target share, it looks like, in New Orleans. I don't care really who the quarterback is. Anyone can hyper-target a wide receiver. And here's what I don't like about Ridley. For dynasty purposes, there's more question marks with them at quarterback than there is in New Orleans moving forward. We know that after next year, the cap opens up in New Orleans, allowing them to retain whatever quarterback they want to, likely Jameis. And you're giving Jameis an option to work with one of the best coaches offensively in NFL history. It was Sean Payton. And I like to, and look, the age difference doesn't really matter to me, and you're getting him at a better place in drafts. For me, the true dynasty value here is for sure the proven target and production sustainability from MT13, Slant Boy himself. And
this is
Bears,
such a bad
Bears
take.
making my point. Jameis did get LASIK.
Billy, you can take this up on appeal, and you can also post a Twitter poll where you'll win like 90-10 and feel good about yourself.
I will gladly take this on appeal.
Look,
Billy,
if you
at
want
the
to
end of the year, come back to me at the end of the year.
Look, we're gonna lock this one down. I think we're willing to take bets on this one. I know I am. I'm sure Jacob will be willing to take bets on this one.
I'll take bets on pretty much anything.
Look, I'm looking at not just this year.
Billy's posting a poll on Twitter right now. I can see
Sorry, my buddy has called me 3 times in the last 2 minutes, so I'm making sure he's not dying. Anyway, this is dumb.
Billy, like you can state your appeal.
Look, it's. I understand.
I'll let him go. I'll let him do his thing.
Look, I understand that right now Calvin Ridley is the hot button, and I'm not going to do the comparing him to Juju thing with losing AB because obviously Ridley is a superior alpha style wide receiver, but Kyle Pitts showing up, and then Russell Gage, and then the Greek god of useless targets, Zacchaeus, and you know them running the ball with Mike Davis. We don't know.
Davis.
We don't know.
Mike fucking Davis.
Look at who the offensive coordinator is.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor.
We
Please
know
hold the prosecution in contempt.
that
He's
the
swearing
offense
at the
in New
judge.
Orleans is going to be good, and I will hold you in contempt.
The running back older than Michael Thomas. Oh,
doesn't matter. They're still going to hand him the ball. Look, I know what Michael Thomas is going to bring as an alpha with his target share and with what he can do because he's done it. Calvin Ridley still has those question marks to me, and I do think Michael Thomas is the superior wide receiver. I have to side with Michael Thomas in Dynasty, especially in startups right now, so you don't have to pay the same premium. And remember, Calvin Ridley was the most 33-year-old rookie to come into the NFL, right? You're not getting much value. You're not getting much value with age in this debate. So I'm taking the proven alpha wide receiver in Michael Thomas. I'm sorry, Billy. I know you're upset.
This is such a bad take. I can't believe this.
Okay, bet. What's the bet?
Yeah, let's put a bet on this.
Sure.
Okay, let's come up with a creative bet here. All right.
We got. Go ahead.
So let's just do this. I mean, we're not going to be able to do a payoff on a dynasty bet. But are you content to bet this year?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll gladly bet this year.
100%.
Okay, so Michael Thomas versus Calvin Ridley. We'll do PPR. Do you want to do points per game or do you want to do overall?
Let's do
overall. No. We'll do overall. We'll do the whole thing.
Okay, I think that favors me, but okay.
I bet you do.
I don't care which one. Which one do you want, Billy? Overall or points per game?
Give me overall. That works.
Okay.
Overall, Michael Thomas versus Calvin Ridley, 2021. We'll say minimum, I don't know, 12 games or something. Just whatever.
Sure.
Someone tears an ACL week
That's
one.
fine.
Right.
Okay, what are our stakes? Let's make it something rather embarrassing.
Okay.
How about this? We bet drinks for our next draft show going in 2021 or 2022, I guess.
Yeah, but someone should have to it should be you have to drink something gross.
Yeah.
How about this? Okay, the winner gets to pick what the other person drinks for the entirety of next year's draft show.
Yep. Okay.
Deal.
So there it is. So the people via RTDB have spoken. The paragons of objectivity have favored in this matter Michael Thomas over Calvin Ridley. If you want to file an appeal, this is how you can do it. And listen up, because I have a feeling this is going to be the one. This might get more blowback than Pitts over Kelsey as the tight end one. Look, all you have to do is send us 4 sentences. Make it a mini paragraph, if you would. Send it via DM or tag to myself, to the guys, or better yet, the Dynasty Tilt Twitter account, and we will air it on next week's episode. We'll take the best ones if we get too many, and Jacob will have the opportunity to address them. I know Billy's upset. He feels a little defeated. I think he picked one he thought he'd
Don't worry, the Bucs
here.
game will go better than this.
That's right. Bucks and 7. We're still with you, and we're still homies. He's muted.
So mad.
Muted himself. That's how mad he is. That was the people via RTDB. We're going to come back. We're going to send this thing off the right way. Thanks, y'all. So we're back at it. That was really great. I really enjoyed that.
I don't think Billy enjoyed that.
This has been a fun gimmick. I mean, new look, same show, and that was really important to us when we decided to partner up. And just real great overall by the whole team. One thing you can definitely catch is Monday, the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast presents the Fantasy Walkabout. You can catch it right here on all the same streaming platforms where our mate Tom Lee, all the way on the other side of the planet in Australia, we're breaking down how to identify a true value like Michael Thomas in your drafts and in trades when moving through tiers and how tricky that can be. Gentlemen, I just want to get your final thoughts. I'm going to need Billy a second to calm down here. Jacob, hit me with your final thoughts and what you have going on currently, and we'll get going.
Yeah, man, just you can find me on Twitter, FF_RTDB. You can find me on Fridays, of course, here. You can find me on Tuesdays hosting Dynasty Intervention with Shane is the Worst and Chase FF_Intervention. We have one of the Vipers' own, Terra Victoria, is joining us next Tuesday on Dynasty Intervention. Very excited for that. That's at It's Terra Time. And I will be debuting a new game that should be pretty fun to watch. So stay tuned for that one. I'm going to be working on a lot of graphic work over the weekend for that one. So get ready. Otherwise, you can find my writing up on playerprofiler.com. And I just want to say to Billy, look, you fought well. If you end up winning this on appeal,
Labatt 50.
Look, I like Labatt 50, man. I'm all right about
Barry, let's
with
not
Labatt
get
50.
him going now.
I'm gonna make y'all drink some old Milwaukee.
Why are you doing this to us,
Here, Billy,
Barry?
look.
We sided with Michael Thomas. Jeez. Anyway.
I just want to say, look, Billy, this officially was the first edition where it was seriously RTDB versus the people, because I'm sure that 90% of the people are with you on this take. That's fine. I feel best when my back is against the wall, facing off against the people like Jon Snow at the Battle of the Bastards. And I will be rooting for Michael Thomas with all of my heart because he's on so many of my Dynasty and Best Ball teams this year. So now I just have added incentive to root for the GOAT, Michael Thomas. Can't guard Mike.
Billy, hit us with the final thoughts, man. What you got going on?
I am so upset solely because you can check me out on Twitter, Big Billy FF. I just dropped my rankings yesterday, and I purposely excluded Michael Thomas just because I thought someone would be like, where do you have Michael Thomas ranked? No one said it, but apparently I also accidentally excluded Keenan Allen. But
you hate my two favorite wide receivers for 2021. Like every league, I'm like drafting Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas, and you just hate them.
But someone caught Keenan Allen, and so Jason Winterling, appreciate you. He caught Keenan Allen, didn't catch anything when it came to Michael Thomas. And that, I think, is the pinnacle of hilarity here. You can check in, see me on Twitter. I post a bunch of jokes. That's my thing.
It does.
My projections should be going up on Dynasty Nerds here soon. I've been working with their projection model. That's where you can catch me. Come and check my rankings. Tell me why all my god tier players are all dumb.
Definitely check out Billy's rankings.
We
Put a
love
lot
it,
of work
man.
into those, and that was great to see. I'm going to go and retweet them right now for the people. So if any of you somehow follow me and don't follow Billy, first of all, change that and go follow Billy. And second of all, you can go to the top of my profile to see those ranks.
I'm glad you liked my dumb you.
So look.
Shout out to Cooper Adams, my guy who's out here supporting my Michael Thomas love, the only guy who likes Ayuk even more than I do, and now also defending my Michael Thomas takes.
So as we always do when we sign out here, I just want to say, if you liked what you heard today, you gotta let us know. If you dislike what you heard today, you definitely gotta let us know. If there's a guest that you think that we should go in and pull, if there's a guest that we got to sit here and pull that you think we should go and put it out there, well, guess what? We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna try to wheel them in here. And the most important thing to us as a group, and what we feel is most like in the community, is general positivity. It's really easy to tear somebody down. It's really easy to subtweet and mock and take shots and jabs. But it takes a real special type of person to keep that positivity at 100. And that's what we care about. Even when Billy's upset here or Jacob's going off on what he thinks is a bad take, at the end of the day, we are positive, vibing people. And that is what we want in this community. So we are happy that Brighter Skies reached out to us to host 1 hour of their show on the 26th of June at the 1 and 2 Central time slot, 2 and 3 Eastern. We honestly can't be more excited than that. And we're definitely excited to be here on the Dynasty Vipers Network. We can't say that enough. It's been great. And I want to shout them out. You can catch my work at the Dynasty Vipers through graphics. They were nice enough to bring me on and give me a chance to learn from two of the greats, two of the GOATs, and Bob Gilchrist and Steven Roto. You've seen them on Twitter for sure. And all their work they're doing with the Scott Fishbowl Avies. And again, thank you to everyone tuning in and staying in with us here. Much love, much appreciation. And remember, there's only one most important thing, and it's that clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Stay safe, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Jakob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host, Thomas Tipple. Dynasty Podcast. This is the Full Tilt. Full Tilt. Full Tilt. Full Tilt. Full Tilt. Dynasty Podcast. Jakob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host, Thomas Tipple, this is the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast.
Fool you!